When you look at startup valuations right now, are they getting a little frothy? Are we approaching a bubble?
This is a great question, and a question I hear asked more and more. I think there's definitely a valuation bubble with certain specific companies. I don't think there's a bubble in technology overall. I'm not sure that...
What about startups?
It depends on how you define a startup. I mean, is Airbnb a startup? Is Uber a startup at this point? I mean, they're pretty big companies. They have big revenues. They're a lot bigger than most of the companies that we would not consider startups. So, and they're certainly a lot bigger than a lot of publicly traded companies. So I think there's a question about, is there a bubble in consumer internet? Is there a bubble in mobile applications? Is there a bubble in...
So let me ask you it that way.
Yeah.
Do you see bubbles anywhere?
Well, I don't think that there's a bubble in technology. I'm not sure there can be a bubble in technology, because technology, by definition, is the next generation. So to say that there's a bubble in technology would be to say that the last 200 years of economic progress, didn't happen or is
Right. Because Mark Cuban has pointed to and blogged about some of these valuations and some of the liquidity issues for some of these startups, and I just wonder if you agree.
Some of these individual companies may be themselves overvalued.
Yeah.
It's almost certainly the case, but it's hard to tell when you're in it which ones. So,
And therein lies the challenge.
Yeah, even in the recent history, there's companies like Zynga and Groupon that never fully delivered on their promise. So we don't have to look too far back for examples of companies where there was a valuation bubble. Definitely some of the companies that are out there now are overvalued in the private markets, and I think there's a bit of a distortion between the public and private equity markets, and we've seen that as well in the past.